Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Weekly Home Edition. Hurricane season is officially here, and even before it began, we've already seen some named storms in the Atlantic. So being prepared is more important than it ever has been, especially in light of COVID-19 concerns, which can throw a wrench into our emergency planning. Now, we here at the city are working hard on our response efforts to hurricanes, keeping COVID-19 in mind, and we hope that you're going to do the same. So remember, limited supplies in stores and extended shipping times could mean it will take you longer to put together your emergency kit. So you really need to start building that like yesterday. And don't forget that your kits should now include hand sanitizer and face masks. So for more on what to include in those kits, you can visit ready.gov. And another critical piece of being prepared for hurricane season is flood insurance. Chesapeake is very low and very flat, and flooding happens all the time during normal seasons, much less during hurricane season. So if you don't have flood insurance, get it.
You're not required to get it. You're outside of the FEMA designated floodplain. But as we all know, water doesn't stop at some line that's drawn on a map by some engineer, up in Philadelphia. So what we want to do is encourage people to get these preferred risk policies. Reach out to a flood insurance agent, go to floodsmart.gov and check out that website. You can get to these insurance agents and they can give you a preferred risk policy. Sometimes that insurance, it's covering about $350,000 worth of insurance, is as little as $300 to $400 a year.
Oh my
gosh. So it's such a good deal, and we really want to encourage people to take a look at that. In our city, one of the highest points is in the Great Dismal Swamp. So when the highest elevation in your city is in a swamp, you might want to look at flood insurance, even if you're outside of that designated area.
So again, you can learn more about flood insurance at floodsmart.gov or just by calling your local insurance agent and learn more about all sorts of preparedness tips, including putting together that emergency kit at ready.gov. Well, the latest edition of the Mayor's Emergency Roundtable was released last week, and two of the main topics that they focused on were school-related information and economic development information. So this week we pulled a clip from that from Economic Development Director Stephen Wright, who had some really helpful tips for those small businesses out there. Take a look.
Something that the city is working very closely with the Economic Development Authority on is the establishment of a small business grant program. And this is going to be a program that's going to be eligible to businesses that have not received any level of federal funding so far. A couple of weeks ago, I know City Council approved some community development block grant funds to be utilized for that program, and I think we're getting really close to start pushing that money out into the community. I think initially we're going to focus on SWAM businesses and businesses in low to moderate income areas, but there will be another round of funding that we believe will come from the CARES Act, and that will allow us to be a lot more flexible in terms of which businesses will be able to take advantage of that program. So I would encourage all businesses out there, stay tuned. Please continue to visit the Economic Development website. That's chesapeakeva.biz, B-I-Z, because when that information is made available, we'll want you to get it and apply for those programs as quickly as possible.
Well, projects throughout the city of Chesapeake have not stopped construction over the past few months, and one exciting project taking place down in southern Chesapeake is the construction of Fire Station 7 and the new Police Station 6, which will be a joint building for both of those units. We went down there and got an update on how construction is going so far. Take a look.
It'll bring a police precinct number 6 and a replacement for Fire Station 7. They're combined. They'll share resources within the building. There will be a community meeting room inside. That's new to fire stations in Chesapeake. All of our 3 new fire stations will have that community meeting room. And it will be much more user-friendly for the general public to come to and visit. The new fire station is only a half a mile north. The city owns this farm we're standing on right now. They own a couple hundred acres here. So this was city-owned land. This was the prime spot to put it. We're putting in an entrance road that can serve the farm for future use. Parks and Rec controls this, so they have some plans in the making to develop the overall farm. So we're putting in water line that can serve the whole property in the future. We're putting in a driveway that can serve the whole future. Turn lanes on Battlefield Boulevard that can serve the future. So this project is way ahead of where it needs to be. If it was just a fire station, it wouldn't be quite that intense, but now we can serve the whole property.
And continued rehab work is going to cause a closure of the Centerville Turnpike Bridge for this weekend. That closure will start at 5:30 a.m. on Saturday, June 6th. It'll last through 5:30 p.m. on Sunday, June 7th. Now, this will allow for crews to do some epoxy sealing and restriping of the bridge deck. The detour route is the Route 168 bypass. Visit cityofchesapeake.net/Centerville for more information on the project. Well, as we head into summer and the weather continues to get hotter and hotter, we have to revisit this topic, even though it is hard to discuss. Leaving children in cars. It's not acceptable. It is deadly. So we're going back to this recent edition of A Closer Look when Karen Myers talked at length about the topic with Human Services Director Jill Baker. She's got some tips on how you can prevent this horrific tragedy from taking place with you and your children or any children that you may watch. So let's listen in on part of this interview with Jill Baker and Karen Myers. Take a listen.
Well, I think some of the tips that we can certainly offer is if you are driving to the daycare center, always put your purse, your briefcase, your cell phone, anything that you know you're going to want to have in the back seat. Another thing you might do is if the child has a stuffed animal that they usually take with them, put that in the front seat so that when you go to get your purse, you'll see the stuffed animal
that visual
and it'll clue you that,
click.
yeah.
That,
right.
okay, why is this here? Oh, okay.
Right. Some of the other things you might do is to have an agreement with your child care provider that if the child does not show up, to call immediately. You know, your child didn't show up for daycare today, is everything okay? And then that will clue you into, oh my gosh, you know, where is the child? So.
Or even the other parent, you know,
right.
maybe have that agreement as well
Right.
that they call, okay, you took
right, how'd it go?
Johnny
Yeah.
to daycare
Right.
today or something like that.
Absolutely.
So.
Just, you know, you can't be too vigilant.
Right.
Especially when you are tag teaming it with another, you know, or co-parenting that, or a grandparent even who might, you know, have to
Right,
fill
exactly.
in sometimes. So, yeah.
And it's such a tragedy. And as we were talking earlier, you said it's absolutely preventable.
It is 100% preventable.
It really is such a difficult topic to discuss, but it's really important to talk about because it continues to happen every single year. So I do hope that you will watch the rest of that interview, and you can find that at youtube.com/Chesapeake Television. Just look for the A Closer Look playlist where you'll find Look Before You Lock as one of the options to watch. So I do hope you'll watch the rest of that. All right, switching gears a bit, summertime is all about farmers markets, and thankfully, COVID-19 isn't gonna stop us from getting that fresh produce. Lots of options coming up for you. Take a look here. Healthy Chesapeake is hosting an online farmers market. You can choose from a variety of vendors selling fresh produce, baked goods, meats, and prepared food. Ordering is really easy and it's all online. So you just place your order before Saturday to pick up your items that Tuesday afternoon at Big Ugly Brewing on Battlefield Boulevard. Learn more and place your order at healthychesapeake.org. And yes, the Outdoor Farmers Market at City Park is still going to happen this year. It's expected to start this weekend, June 6th. You'll find the market at City Park on Saturdays and Wednesdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, when you're there, we ask that you continue to social distance and wear your mask. So we still want to practice those good measures even while outside at a farmer's market. And maybe you already have a good batch of fresh produce growing in your backyard. You might consider donating your extras to the Plant a Row for the Hungry program. So this annual program has started on Tuesdays in June throughout September. So every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to noon, you can drop off that extra produce to the Central Library. And this fresh food will be donated to the hungry right here in our community. It's a really great chance to help out your neighbors. So learn more about that at the Master Gardeners webpage, cmgv.org. And last but certainly not least, here in Chesapeake, we take honoring our veterans very seriously. There are so many among us here in this community, and they range in ages from in their 20s to 100 plus. Yes, you heard that correctly. Navy veteran and Chesapeake resident Mickey Casady recently turned an impressive 102 years old. And while his wild party plans may have been somewhat dampened by COVID-19, his brothers and sisters in the VFW Post 2894 were not going to let this milestone go unnoticed. Take a look at what they did for this much deserving veteran.
Mickey was around, joined the Navy in 1937. He's the oldest plank holder of the USS Iowa, and he served in the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, and the Pacific in the war. And so he's seen a lot and done a lot. Mickey Casady is a legend here. He's a crusty little old guy, and he turned 102 years ago, and then every year after that, it's another event, another milestone that we want to celebrate with him, that he's still around with us.
Is he an active member of the Post?
He is an active member when he can be, but he loves to come to our meetings and sits and loves telling stories. And when we do our award ceremony, we always have him front and center so all the awardees can have their photos taken with him. Since he's a member of our post, we've got all the VFW here, and then I called up the fire department, the police department, the sheriff's department, and then also put out the word to city council, so I'm hoping some of their members will be here, and the mayor. So, and then I asked them to invite friends of friends, so we'll see who shows up.
Okay.
What do you think about this parade, sir?
I think it's wonderful. People thinking about me.
What did you, when you first, did you know this was going to happen?
No. No.
Did you know this was going to happen?
No,
Did you know this was going to happen?
no,
Okay.
I didn't.
And what do you think about it?
I think it's great. I think thank you so much, everyone on
That was involved.
our group.
So incredible. Thank you so much to all the veterans out there, to Mr. Casady and everyone else who has so selflessly served our country. We see you and we appreciate you. Well, that's all I've got for this week for Chesapeake Weekly. Stay healthy, everyone. Enjoy the sunshine and have a great week.